Hello everybody, it's been a while since I've been online. I've been mucking around in Elder Scrolls, generally just mucking around waiting for some of these bigger games to come out. Fallout 4 is new to me, well, Fallout series is new to me, so one of the things I've always liked doing in games is crafting. So I thought I would actually do a video to begin with on how you actually kind of start out in crafting, a few little hints and tips in order to get things going, and what to look out for when, particularly in your starting town in Sanctuary, and whilst you're out and about looting all the different areas, there's certain things you can pick up, you can break down to get different components without wasting a lot of things. So when you're in Sanctuary and you're going to go through a couple of missions and you'll get the Minutemen to join you, to begin crafting on a large scale, what you want to be able to do is what you'll find is you've got this workshop here. This doesn't allow you to actually break items down. It's more of a kind of a static thing. So all I ever do really is transfer junk into this. Now what you want to do is hold down. This is from the PS4 perspective. If you hold down the pad button for a couple of seconds, keep it pressed down, what it does is it puts you in a crafting mode. Now this turns the entire world into a crafting situation. So when you walk up to items, you'll see they go green. That means you can scrap them. So when you want components, all you've got to do is walk up to an item. You'll see you've got the square button there, scrap. That's going to give you 10 steel. So we take 10 steel from that. Now there are actually areas you can scrap the entire building. So for example, if you look at some of the buildings that look really raggedy, you can actually just walk up and scrap the entire building. So this just clears out a nice little area that you could then use, create a new little house for, for example, if I run down to the other end of town here, I've just been mucking around basically the past couple of days, seeing what you can and can't do, as I've been doing a few of the missions as well. So you can see here down the other end of town I've built an entire prefab made of metal. So you've got the doorway in, a few beds and stuff like that, and chairs. And you can build an entire prefab in one go made of wood. And just fill it with a couple of things. You can put pictures in and all kinds of crap. But you need beds in order to have people in the actual settlement, and without beds they just become very unhappy. Now if you look at the list of things at the top of the screen in green, when you start, most of these are going to be in red. So once you've actually got people come into your settlement, the person that you want to be speaking to is Sturgis. Now he's probably going to be running around town somewhere, so I don't know where he is. If I could see him. But anyway, he's the one. Sturgis is going to be the one that tasks you with doing certain things, the things at the top of the list. So what you've got to do is build something, go back to Sturgis. He'll then give you another task, go back to Sturgis, or all the things that are in red at the top of the screen, just build like a power. So you've got your power generators, build some power generators, put beds in, put your defences in, get the water. So for example, if you go down to the actual riverside, you can put a water purifier in here with a little power generator, and you connect the two together. That's going to give you a lot of water. Once you've done those, again, just go back to Sturgis. You'll then tick that off the little task list, and once you've done all of them, you'll then complete the first part of the mission. You'll get a load of XP for doing that. And then what you're going to be doing is going off to help other people and get other people to come to your town in order to build up a community. Now you'll see at the bottom of the screen here, you've got the list of things that you can build. It's very, very easy to build structures. You just build a structure. Now whether you go into wood ones, like I said before, you can build miscellaneous things. It's very easy. You can build bridges. This would be good for making different kind of multi-leveled buildings, so that'd be quite fun doing that. It's like you got your steps. So if you want steps to get on top of a building, even just to place a turret up there, for example, build some steps. You could scrap them at a later date if you don't want to keep them there, or just move them somewhere else. Water, you got a water pump. You're going to need ceramics for that. But once you've done everything that you need to do, it's quite easy to actually start mucking around with the crafting side of it. But there are certain things that's going to need to level up. So once you've built a lot of things in different areas, you'll be able to level up. And you will have to do certain things in order to level up, like, for example, defences. If you look at the turrets, you can do the basic turrets, but you need rank 1 gun nut in order to do a heavy machine gun turret. So you're going to have to do a lot of crafting with the guns, using your weapons workbench. You're going to have to do a lot of kind of gun upgrades in order to get to that level, in order to progress. And the same is going to be with armour and crafting cooking station as well. Now, as I said before, there's a lot of things that you're going to waste component-wise if you don't break them down. Now, unfortunately, the only way of breaking things down is actually to throw them on the floor and then break them down. So what I've done is I'm going to start storing things in different areas. So it's like all my weapon components and clothing and stuff. I'll break those down so I can then do the crafting there. I got my cooking station that I got from the other end of town. And what I'm doing is I'm keeping all the different kind of foods and provisions in one area, so I can just come back, stick them all in there, craft everything up, get food if I need it. And the dog's standing on the fire, so we're going to boil the dog soon. Idiot. Right, so what I said before, when you're out in the world looting stuff, there are certain things that you're going to want to be getting, particularly like glues, ceramics, copper, glass, screws, aluminium, things that you need are quite hard to get hold of, particularly like screws and aluminium. So find yourself a little area when you come back, and if you go into your backpack in junk, for example, so you can see here aluminium cans. I've got 5 aluminium cans. That's going to make me aluminium. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop that on the floor. Bloatfly gland, we can get acid from those, so we'll chuck those on the floor. Broken light bulb, we can get copper, chuck them on the floor. Cigarette carton, plastic, cloth and asbestos. Now if you were actually crafting an item and it said it needed asbestos, what it would do, it would look at the backpack or what you've got in storage, and it would then take that asbestos to build an item, but it would actually consume the whole item. So this is why you want to break things down, so you can get all the components. And once you've got the components, it just means you're not going to waste a load of stuff, and you can't do it in the crafting station, which I think is pretty crappy really. So the best thing to do is, as I said, just throw them on the floor. So you've got copper and glass from the fuses. Military grade circuit board, you're going to get circuitry. So let's just chuck those on the floor for now. So once we come out of that, you'll see that we've got all these things on the floor. So what we want to do is hold down the pad button. It's obviously be different on the PC and Xbox. Go into crafting mode. Once you've gone into crafting mode, when you highlight an item, you'll see it says you can scrap it. So you scrap that, aluminium 2. Scrap that, aluminium 2. Aluminium's quite hard to get hold of, so you really want to be looking out for things like this. Scrap. Scrap. So you got your aluminium from those. So you get acid from that, acid from that, acid from that. All of these things are going to be used in building things around the community and for weapons and for armor. So the more components you have, the more things that you can build, the less things that you waste. So it's really important to do this. A little bit time consuming maybe. Maybe a little bit finicky in the way of doing it, but as long as you realise that's what you can do, then it's not a problem. Now once you've broken all those items down, you could either just go and stick all of the stuff in here, transfer, and you can see there in the workshop you can just store all junk. So all of these things that we've just broken down, asbestos, aluminium, the acid, all of that stuff's going to just be held in here in the workshop, so we could store all the junk in there, and that makes our inventory a little bit lighter. And you just know that it's going to be a load of stuff here for when you come back to doing crafting again. So, items and backpack breakdown. So as I said, once you're going around looting the world, look out for things that are electronically made, fans, typewriters, anything that you think that can be broken down into components. Just pick it up, bring it back, break it down. So when you actually start in the town, it allows you to just, once you put it into crafting mode, you can actually just move anything around. So what I did was I took my weapons workbench that was originally in that building there, and I just built this like a little crafting area. It just allows you to kind of move things around, and if you go into any building within that community, you'll see that there are things just lying around. You can just go around scrapping anything and everything in all the different buildings, and you'll get the components that you need to then do other stuff. You can't actually do this wash out in non-friendly environments. You've actually got to be within a friendly environment. So the town area is one of those areas that you can do all of this stuff. Tires, if you need rubber, go around, look at all the tires, pick those up, and just break those down. Now when it comes to food and stuff, because of the food that you pick up and buy, for example, when you build plants or you plant things in your own garden, if you pick up components off your plants, for example, the tato plant.
Seems to be growing well.
If you look at the tato plant, if I go into my backpack inventory, aid, tato plant. Now, if you look at the tato plant, it gives you 10 hit points redeemed, but it also gives you 5 radiation points. So what you want to do is harvest as many things as you can of those, and then craft them into a food. So if you craft them into food, so for example, I've got here 12 tatos. Let's have a look at 12 tatos. If you go into the crafting station, what you'll see is you've got different things that you can cook and make. Might not be able to use just pure tatos. Let's have a look. You'll find it's a component. So you can see there that the tatos are a component. If I can get carrots and jaguar meat, I'll be able to do this soup or whatever it is. No, a roast. 210 hit points redeemed, but you'll also see that there's no radiation points on it. So by cooking things, when you consume them, generally most of them aren't going to give you any radiation points. So this is what you want to be doing with all the food components you get. You want to cook them, and then once you've gone into your backpack to eat the actual consumed food, so for example grilled rad stag, mutt chops. So let's have a look. Take the mutt chops out, and then we'll look at the mutt chops. So you can see here the mutt chops now give me 40 hit points, but don't give me any radiation points. So the radiation will stick, at a lower level. So that's the best thing to do really, is to cook your own food and eat your own food. So you can see there I've got the mole rat chunks. That also gives me max AP 5 as well. So it's definitely worth cooking all your own food and keeping all those in the backpack, but it's probably not best to overdo the backpack, because you can only carry around certain items. So it's a good idea to maybe just kind of keep things stored. Otherwise, you'll just end up with too much stuff. Anyway, Rob, let's skip on to the next bit. Chemistry. Now, you can actually do buffs. You can actually create buffs. So if we look at the map, if you go down to this first area, Red Rocket Truck Stop. We'll run down there now. It doesn't take too long to get down there. Right, so once you get down to the actual Red Rocket Truck Stop, you'll see here that there's a lot of crafting things here as well. It's pretty much the same as back in town in Sanctuary, but there is a chemistry place here, which is, I haven't found back in Sanctuary. I'll have a quick look around and see if I can see one there, but I've not come across one. But at least here, what you can do with this chemistry station is you can actually do a lot more stuff. You can do all these drugs that gives you these kind of pretty cool buffs. It's like the buff stats here, plus 3 strength, endurance, max health, and plus 3 perception for 8 minutes. So there's a pretty cool buffs here. You got the psycho buff, plus 25% damage, plus 3 strength, endurance, and 65 health for 8 minutes as well. So some of these are pretty good. I mean, if you're going to be in the middle of a fight and trying to kill some pretty hardcore enemies, then some of these buffs are going to be pretty good. When you go into the town, you know, you got people shooting at you. More strength and endurance you've got, just be able to shoot and get up and whack them with a big blade and chop them to pieces. So this is definitely a good place to come and have a look at. What you want to be doing is looking at the actual components that are needed here. Maybe just take a note of them. This is like adhesive. You use a lot of adhesive and stuff when you're making weapon components. So when you see the the tape, you want to be picking up all the tape and adhesives you can. Anything that can be broken down with adhesive, used a lot in these components. As you can see here, you got oil, steel. You got the oil from used oil cans. Just pick anything up that you can think of. Acid, adhesive, aluminium, nuclear material. There's a lot of stuff you need. So as I was saying, get out, pick everything up you think you can break down, get back to camp, break it down, get the components, all those components you need, and then you can come down here and you can start creating some pretty cool stuff. As you can see, there is a big list of things to do. So anyway, that's pretty much most of the basic thing and getting started out crafting. Once you've leveled up and you start getting more people in town, start getting to a more advanced stage. So I'll make more of an advanced crafting video next, particularly to do with the actual town and weapons, because I mean some of the weaponry you can create in this is pretty insane. You can make nuclear generators and all kinds of stuff. So hopefully we'll get there soon, and I'll upload a more advanced crafting video soon. So I hope you enjoy that. I'll see you guys again soon. Cheers. Goodbye.